All right, so we're today just talking about Mersivity and some student perspectives on the concept and how we kind of view it here at McGill, and what we see being the core direction forward for our organization and this kind of really new and fun and exciting idea. So I just wanted to start this off. Everybody knows me here. I'm Callum, but just for those watching, we're going to talk today mainly about Mersivity and about how we view the concept and its main kind of implications for technology, especially in relation to the creative aspect of science education in our modern landscape. So I want to start off by just kind of asking each one of our group members what they find most exciting about Mersivity, and I'll just remind everybody talking about how Mersivity advances technology that's unmonopolizing, unrestrictive, observable, controllable, attentive, and communicative in our society. So thinking about technology that can remove the barriers between us and our friends, our loved ones, and our social experiences, and also on the same vein, removing those barriers between us and our environment and how we use the world around us and our technology. So Alex, you want to start us off? What's most exciting to you about Mersivity?
Yeah, personally for me, I really like the idea of making a kind of a safer and a more immersive nightlife experience. So creating a set of tiles you could use on the floor for a big artist performance or in a club that would allow the DJ or someone else who's in charge of the venue to quickly and accurately create a path for paramedics if there's an incident like what happened at the Travis Scott concert or something else. And it could also allow DJs to kind of have a more personal experience with the people who are coming to a concert and allow them to kind of control the lights on the floor and kind of generate areas for mosh pits or areas for certain activities to ensure a more consistent and safer clubbing experience.
I think that'll have huge implications for how we feel when we go out and how we like to recreate, because a lot of the times people tend to not want to do things for risk of injury or not put their safety in jeopardy, but allowing these things to be more safe and more accessible to everybody is never a downside. Rafa, do you have any thoughts? I know you worked in a similar kind of concept there with Alex.
Yeah, along those lines, I thought it would also be really cool to be able to use it, like maybe have it set up at a club in sort of like promotional way where people could go home with like their own pictures, and then I think that would really be a good way to spread it. You could also set something up like that in like a school building, and then also over the summer I worked in doing foam parties, and so I think that like I could connect it with that industry. I think like they do light parties at night, and I think the combination of like that technology and their base could really get a lot of people on board with it.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think that's one of the, sort of interrupt you, Sam, that's one of the main things we noticed, and feel free anybody else to kind of hop in, but is that people get excited when they see these images because they're not like anything you've ever really seen otherwise before. It's very kind of novel, and it has, I think, a lot of implication, as Rafa says, in terms of getting people excited and in terms of having people come and have almost a memento or some sort of thing that exists between the physical and the digital world, where you can kind of go to a place and people to be a part of something, take a picture with, say, some sort of sequential wave imprinted image that's unique to that experience, that's unique to being there at that place and moment in time in the world, but you couldn't have felt it, you couldn't have grabbed it. It's kind of something that's not here nor there. It's in an ether space of physical and digital, which is a unique kind of place to be. But Sammy?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a kinesiology student who's kind of more heavily tied into athletics. So you can kind of use it to, promote athletics as well, especially in like bigger schools in the US where you could take photos, promote your new players and returning players using cooler photos, as well as even visualizing data collection within your athletes, which can help, like progress them and like better the sports in general as well.
I'm really excited to like get more into the software side and really learn about kind of like working on ways to maybe like streamline the process and be able to generate images faster and just overall streamline the process so people can come in and have their image in 5 or 10 minutes and not have to wait, and or maybe not have to email us before and be like, I want this image. Like they can show up, tell us what they want, and we can just turn it out for them and have the image for them.
Yeah, unique images on demand would something be huge, I think. in
Yeah.
terms of image processing.
Yeah, like Callum said earlier, I think it's really exciting to find the connections between like the digital world and humans and our social interactions, and using for example, like we said earlier, with having overlaying sort of like a digital image over real life, and having your subject, although when you take if you take an image or a photo, that you can't really see what's going on in the digital space until we overlay that, and having people being able to experience a different perspective that they can't necessarily see day to day with the use of new technology. That's really exciting for me.
Want to do anything on that?
Yeah, similar to what Sam said, I was thinking of applications on sports science, specifically athletes with injuries. So they could attach a sensor to an athlete doing a squat, for example, and analyze the stability in their knee as they go through the motion. So
Yeah, using like PID controllers and understanding how the movement of certain athletes and how, sorry, there one, but understanding how people move and how the human body is actually, its rates of change are interacting with each other, so that we can understand how athletes move and where their potential points of failure are in their movements, right? So
Yeah, and even further down the line, like connecting with different departments, like even the biomechanics department here in McGill or something along those lines could even help further research that, like we could help aid certain areas like that.
yeah, absolutely. And the other really exciting thing here is I think that the two other gentlemen who have joined us via Zoom here, Mav and Palm, they know a little bit less about what we're doing here. So now they get the exciting opportunity to kind of maybe ask us some questions about what they're thinking and what they've heard here today so far. Any either one of you want to go first?
Yeah, well, like as you said, I'm relatively new to the idea, so Calgill explained it a bit earlier. But I'm really intrigued to well, first of all, to get to know all you guys, and you guys all seem to have really good ideas. So be happy to pick your brains and stuff. And like I wonder what you could, because I'm studying civil engineering, and I wonder like BIM technology, which is like a 3D modelization of buildings, is becoming more prominent in the industry. And I was wondering like if there's anything like we can do relative to that, where you can like or like I don't know. That's just the first thing that came to mind. But
Creating virtual models in physical space is something that I think Calgill and I have talked
Yeah.
about before, which is really exciting, even with other CAD software, not necessarily for buildings, but even models being in mechanical engineering, engines, other physical mechanisms we design, being able to see them in physical space, but having them be virtual and created in kind of persistence of vision fashion is something that we've been really excited about. So I think that's got a lot of opportunity for sure.
Yeah, and allowing you to kind of get a sense or a feeling for how a structure is going to look, because there's this one thing to have a 3D representation of a structure. Like I've used CAD plenty, and well, it's nice to have a 3D representation of what something looks like. Actually having it in your hands, or for buildings, actually like being able to walk into an area and kind of project what it would look like would be really big for kind of people planning urban developments, and how do we want people to like see and interact with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Even for design and creativity, like beyond the scientific and the engineering aspect, just for architects and interior designers moving down the line, and how this technology can affect everybody, right?
Mhm.
There's lots and lots of ramifications.
As an electrical engineer, I'm really passionate about technology and intrigued about technology. One thing that Calgill mentioned earlier to Pam and I was the idea to use virtual glasses to use technology while still being connected with the world, as opposed to somebody on their phone who's just in their own bubble. I was wondering if you guys had any other ideas other than like these glasses that allow you to use technology while still being present.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if any of you guys have heard about the AI pen. Have you heard about this?
No.
Basically, it's this pin you wear and it projects light onto your hand, and it has a camera and it senses what's going on around you, and it functions much like your phone, but instead of having a physical display, the camera observes what's going on around you and project light, so it'll tell you the time, it'll tell you text messages, it'll kind of read through, and it's an artificially intelligent pin so that you don't have to have a screen on you. And I think things like that, especially as we see AI progress and we have to do less for ourselves, like we want to have the same kind of end goal in the user interface, but we have to do less of it to manage it ourselves, and we can leave more of it to the AI. that's going to become really exciting. Ideas like glasses or like pens like these are kind of just fleshing out the idea of other form factors than having to have a cell phone or some sort of, physical screen to interact with. I think that's just starting. That revolution is just starting now, and it's really exciting, especially even with things like Neuralink coming up and those kind of ideas. There's really endless possibilities.
Yeah.
And I just want to add something real quick, just a funny thing. Actually, I broke my phone for the past month, so I didn't have a phone for a month. And it's crazy to think that I actually was, I don't know how to explain it, but I felt like I was more connected with reality, just not being on my phone 24/7. So I think these ideas to be more connected are going to be a great for us.
Yeah, and on that vein that you say that, it reminds me as well is we've seen, I mean, statistically, and I think we can all kind of feel it too, being in youth, there's been a marked like decrease in mental health in youth over the past 10, 15 years. And I think that definitely ties to the internet and the way we interact with our technology. So if we can kind of shift that back to being more in the environment and more social and more connected, I think it's only going to be beneficial for everybody. So I think that is
Yeah.
that's a great way to start our conversation on Mersivity student perspectives, and we hope that everybody at U of T and across the viewership has a great day. And thank you for spending your time watching our perspectives.
All right.
How do I turn off screen?
It's on the bottom.
Pause to stop.
Nope, not end the meeting.
Pause, stop.
Somebody,
Pause,
in the
stop
center.
recording.